everyone, welcome back to my channel, and for those that are new here, hello, my name is Alicia. So today is episode 3 of my calf rearing series, and in today's episode I'm going to be talking about calf selection, so what we go for, what kind of breeds we choose and markings and price and things like that, and also what to look for and how to pick a healthy calf. We will also be looking at transport, how we transport the calves home safely to avoid any issues further down the track. And lastly, I'm going to talk about what we do once we get the calves home. So all about disinfection and what we feed them for the first time. So I hope you enjoy this video and let's get into it. Alright, so we're off to the sale yards today and hopefully we come back with some calves this time. We have actually been for the last couple of weeks, but the calf prices were just crazy. I mean, autumn calves in general are normally more expensive than spring calves, mainly just because there's less around than there is in spring. But we like to come kind of mid to end season in autumn, because then by then hopefully all the calf rearers have filled up their sheds, so the calves might be a little bit cheaper. This car ride is super bumpy, so sorry that the footage is going to be real bad. But anyways, I like to buy calves in autumn because it's a lot warmer for them, and also it gives them a good start coming into spring because they're just weaned in time for spring, and then they can really get into that lush grass. So fingers crossed that we get some calves today. I'll try and get as much footage as I can at the sale yards, just showing you the different calves there and hopefully the ones that we buy, and then when I get the calves back home I will talk to you about the topics that I discussed before. Alright, so the sale has now finished. We actually did get a few calves today. We got 19 in total and they're all red heifers. So when I get home I'll show you what we got, but I think the average price we paid was $72 excluding GST, which is pretty good because a lot of calves there were really expensive, especially the black calves were going like high twos. So I'm pretty happy with what we got. We've just stopped now on the way back home just to check on them, and they're all looking pretty good in the trailer. So I will see you guys when we get home and unload them. It's a bit windy, but we have stopped just to check on them. A lot of them are sitting down, but that's okay because there is quite a lot of room in the trailer. Yeah, there's my little special calf over the back. Poor little bubbies are hungry, so I can't wait to get them home to give them some electrolytes. It's been a big day for them. I don't know who's more excited, me or Andy? How many calves did you get? 19. Oh, they look good. Alright, so the first thing we do when we get the calves home is to spray all their navels with this iodine spray to prevent any bacteria or any infections that could happen. I also will feel all their navel area for lumps to see if they have any navel infections, because that's really common in young calves. So first up I'm going to be talking about what kind of markings we go for and what breeds. So the main breed we rear is Hereford because they are a beef breed. We do sometimes get Galloways and Speckled Parks and things like that just for a few customers that like the look of them. But in general we'll stick to these white face. So we like to buy calves with 5 white points, which means they'll have a white head, a white stripe on the neck, a white belly, 4 white socks and a white tail. The reason we don't buy calves that don't have these markings is because they will have jersey in them, and we don't want to rear calves that are cross jersey because jerseys are a small dairy breed, and at the end of the day we're selling beef calves. A lot of calf rearers will buy black white face calves so they can be sure that the calves are out of full Frisian cows. When you're buying a red calf, you're always risking it a little bit more that it may have some jersey in it. But I personally love the reds. I mean, at the end of the day, a purebred Hereford bull is red. Now, I am fussy though when it comes to what particular red calf I buy. Hereford calves with jersey in them normally are quite of a brownish colour and have brindle markings. Here's a classic jersey cross. The spotty head and the full coloured legs. These ones are more that browny jersey colour. You can see the solid coloured legs as opposed to these guys, which are the more Hereford colour. All these ones are the good Hereford colour. The calves with patchy faces are just a lot harder to sell because buyers know that they have jersey in them. So yeah, we try to stick with the full white face, but yeah, if there's the odd one with the spot on the face, then we're not too bothered by that. So there is the odd time that I will buy calves with splotchy faces, and that is if they are a big boned animal. So what I mean by big boned is they're pretty much just big chunky calves, big wide backs, big chunky legs, big chest, then that's fine if they have a few spots on their faces. Definitely tend to go for more the bone of the animal, how big the animal is, because I've definitely learned small calves always stay small. They never ever end up doing well. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in definitely buy a decent sized calf to begin with. Nice wide back, rich red colour, something we would go for. We try to buy bulls if we can, but it depends on kind of the prices that they are at that time of year. So this whole lot that I've got today are actually all heifers because the prices today were crazy. The bulls were going up high twos, like $280 each. We got all these red heifers for around $70 a head average, which is a pretty good price, I think. So I try and keep my calves under $100 if I can, just because we're feeding them milk powder as well, which can become quite expensive. So obviously if you can spend less on buying your calves, then you will make more of a profit in the end. Now when it comes to selecting a healthy calf at the yards, there's definitely a few things I look for. The first one is when I'm looking in the pen, I'm looking for dry navels. So calves that go to the auction have to be a minimum of 4 days old, and their navel should have dried up. So if you see any wet navels, then don't even go there. The next thing I'll do is look in the pen for any runny poos. If I see any scales or anything like that, I will definitely avoid this pen. So obviously when you're looking for a healthy calf, they're going to have the ears pricked up, nice bright eyes, keen to suck your fingers when you offer it to them. They are generally quite like frisky. The ones that you don't want to go for are the calves that are real kind of mopey looking. They've got droopy ears, sad looking eyes, don't want to get up, or don't show much interest when you offer them your fingers to suck. Just remember when you're buying from auction, don't be afraid to shout out if you want to take a pic of the pen. If there's a couple of calves in that pen that just aren't quite big enough or just not looking that flash, then you can definitely offer a price per the pic. Now of course it's cheaper to buy the whole pen. You'd rather a bigger calf take up that space on your calf feeder than a little one that's never going to do very well. So I will tend to shout out a higher price for the pic. So yeah, you're really relying on the farmers before you, that they fed all your calves colostrum, but in general most calves should be pretty happy and healthy. But yeah, just avoid those ones that just are looking unwell or they've got pooey butts, because it's seriously not worth bringing them home, because sicknesses spread like crazy. I will be doing a video on all these calf sicknesses soon because I have had this for the last few years. We bought a dodgy lot of calves in and it spread through all my calves. So yeah, I will be talking about this in another video. And of course I have footage of calves that I would have loved to have bought, real healthy big bone calves, but unfortunately they just went for that little bit too high. So yeah, I'll put them in. There was some beautiful Charolais calves there that I really hoped that I would win the auction, but yeah, they went for over $300, so we were happy with our girls, eh? This girl's real keen. She's literally been sucking my fingers this whole time. He's licking his pants. Alright, so next up we're going to be talking about calf transport. So transporting your calves correctly is crucial to end up getting home with a bunch of healthy calves. So our trailer here is 12 by 6. It's quite a big trailer with a cage on the top. And then we've also got this cover that we got made for a different trailer, but until we get another cover made for this trailer, this one's working just fine. So you want to make sure that you have a cover on your trailer, or at least an enclosed trailer, to prevent them from getting wind chill. Calves can get really sick really quickly if they're exposed to the cold wind on the way home, so definitely make sure that you have some sort of protection for them. You also need to have ventilation as well, and I also recommend having some kind of mats on the ground. That's to stop them from slipping and sliding when you're going around corners. Now of course when you're travelling with calves you definitely drive a lot slower because you've got these little 4-day-old babies on board, so obviously brake well before you get up to that stop sign and corners, and definitely drive a lot more carefully. So our cover looks like this. We got this place called FitShag to make it for us. We definitely tried doing that old tying the tarp down thing, but I'm sure everyone knows what a mission it is when you have a tarpaulin trying to tie it down. So I definitely highly recommend getting one of these PVC covers made for your trailer. Definitely an investment that is worth it. Make sure that your trailer is big enough to fit your calves in. You want to make sure they have enough room if they all want to sit down, because it can lead to issues. They can get neighbour ill and become quite injured if they get trampled on while you're transporting them home. Also make sure your trailer's nice and clean. Don't leave any poos or anything in that from the time before. Definitely make sure you really clean out your trailer to avoid the transfer of any bacteria and things like that. So now that we've got the calves home, the first feed they get is an electrolyte feed. So the reason we do this is because they've had a big stressful day at the yard, and it definitely helps with the transition onto the milk, which we'll feed them in the morning. So the reason we feed them electrolytes is to replace all the salts that they've lost. And also if we were to feed them milk tonight, they might have some whole milk left in their stomach from the morning, and then if you feed them milk powder as well, it can curdle, and then that's how you create scouring. So yeah, we like to give them electrolytes when we first bring them home. Alright, so I've split them up into 2 pens. So I've got 9 in one and 10 in one. So it's actually real good that we've already got pretty much all of these calves on the feeder, and they're real keen to feed, so that's a really good sign. So now I'm just going to try and get these 3 up and see if they will feed. Alright, so they're all on. There's just one that's not that great at feeding, but she's still keen, which is a real good sign. And I'm not too fussed if they don't drink this whole 2 litres. I just want to get anything into them that I can. But yeah, I'm real happy that they're all keen and showing interest in feeding, which always helps. So every time they come off, I'll just pop them back on. They're probably wondering what the heck is this stuff, because they've probably not had electrolytes before, but they generally seem to drink it just as good as milk. And this electrolytes is warm as well. Definitely needs to be warm, because the younger the calves are, the more fussy they are. So it's real handy using these compartment feeders, which I mentioned in my other video that I made, because you can really tell as soon as you get the calves which are your stronger feeders and which are your weaker feeders, the ones that you've got to keep an eye on. So you can tell all these are my stronger feeders anyway, but you can see a couple of calves sitting in the back that only drank about a quarter of their feed, so we'll just keep an eye on them in the next few days and make sure they have a full feed of milk in the morning. But yeah, overall, most of the calves all fed pretty good, so I'm happy with that. Alright, so that pretty much sums up today's video. I hope everyone enjoyed it and learned a few things about calf selection. So I'll just run through what I talked about today. So just when you're selecting calves, just make sure you're picking those healthy calves, checking they've got clean bums, no wet navels, and also quite good markings and a good size. Then when we're talking about calf transport, just make sure you have a covered in trailer to prevent them from getting chill. Make sure you've got mats down to prevent them from slipping. And of course drive nicely when you've got calves on. And then lastly, we talked about when we get home what we do with them. Just making sure we check all their navels, spraying it with iodine, and making sure we feed them with electrolytes for their first feed to avoid that nutritional scours when you're changing their milk. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Definitely stay tuned for episode 4, which will be coming really soon, all about the way we feed the calves, what we feed them, how much we feed them, and how we feed them. So yeah, if you liked this video, definitely click that thumbs up button, that would be awesome, and I'll catch you back here in my next video. Bye!